Dragon was telling me earlier that his hands hurt today, so he's not going to be mashing as well. So that might make up the difference.
Could this match be decided by text?
I hope not.
And it looks like the runners are off. So Entu is playing on English. I didn't catch what Dragonstrike is playing on quite yet.
He usually plays on Japanese.
Okay. So Japanese just slightly faster for those that are new to the game. There is a slight bit of text in the shop that is not skippable, and the Japanese text is just a few characters shorter. And you see it a couple times throughout the run at specific shop visits. So intro is basically how fast can you text mash, and introduction to Cloud Step 101, jumping after you slash an item in midair.
Yeah, the Japanese text saves about 4 seconds, I believe, in the no out of bounds 8-bit category. Which
Every
is pretty
second,
yeah, it's a big difference in when you're trying to shave off a lot of frames. Yeah, Cloud Step is a really cool mechanic in this game. I picked it up just because of that.
I think Cloud Step was my first big interest. Like, I saw that and I was intrigued, and then made the way through the game and got rope dart, and I was like, all right, I'm in love.
Yeah, same. I came over from I usually play a lot of Devil May Cry, which relies on a similar mechanic called enemy step. So as soon as I saw Cloud Stepping, I was like, yo, this is gonna be hype.
Nice. So
Yeah,
both our runs
like
are synced up, which is nice. Making our way out of Ninja Village and on to Autumn Hills.
Yeah, Dragon looks a little bit faster right now. Despite his hands hurting, he's still mashed to save his life.
Chat stating they want that 145 Ninja Village split.
Is that possible? I don't even know. The beginning of this game is always really hard because I always forget I can't slash projectiles since you get it so early.
It's going to be the first upgrade you're going to see the runners grab. They're essentially going to be aiming for 40 time shards into the first shop to be able to purchase that upgrade.
Yeah, I've actually managed to get there without 40 before, and I've started to panic basically.
If you're lucky, you can get it in that first little arc of a jump before you drop down and not have to double back too far. But as long as you can ride the right wall and get those extra ones, you should be good.
Yeah. There is a little bit of RNG in terms of the time shards, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It mostly comes into play later on in the game after the 8-bit section.
So Dragonstrike obviously opting to grab that health before the damage boost, which is the smart move. He's going to make up more time than he spent grabbing that 1 health. Getting the backwards damage boost, unfortunately, and having to ride the platform anyways.
Yeah, and that also means he can't damage boost through the bus or in the underwater section.
Yeah. It's always a gamble. I understand it's a bigger time save to do the platform one, but it's always a gamble, and I always hate to see runners get that left side.
Do you know what causes you to get the left side?
It's supposedly the positioning of where you hit the spikes, and I don't know if it's where you hit the spikes relative to center of a spike specifically, but I've heard it has to do with positioning, and above and beyond that, unfortunately, I don't.
So it's not like which direction you hit the spike from, like which direction you're facing.
The only thing I can tell is maybe there's like a space between 2 spikes, and maybe it depends on if you hit like the back of one versus the front of another, but that would be me just guessing.
Okay. Yeah, spikes are dangerous in this run. They do 3 damage, and you only have 5 max health at the beginning.
Yeah, so 3 or less health is always considered to be a scary situation.
Both skip that free health there. I always go for it just because I don't trust myself.
It's not too far out of the way. I'm guilty of skipping it myself. There's quite a few health upgrades, or health drops, not upgrades, just placed along the level in various spots that you can kind of grab if you're willing to take just a fraction of a second. So you can take this level as fast or as slow as you'd like, and as precautious as you would like at the end of the day. A little bit of a double back from Dragonstrike. See if he gets the platform skip here.
Oh, nice. I can never get that one.
Took a couple tries at it, but he's up. And Entu.
He gets a 2. Nice.
Entu picked up definitely a couple seconds there. Dragonstrike had to do it off of the enemy, so he gained a few seconds back, but we see Dragonstrike has a little bit of a lead at the moment.
Yeah, they're basically on the opposite sides of rooms at the moment.
I think that one that Dragonstrike just did was probably the first instance of a double lantern slash. Entu unfortunately missing it and getting dropped back down.
It's trickier than it looks. You need to basically sort of plink the input.
Your best friend when learning is really the fact that the sword hitbox is a lot more generous than you think it would be, and so are the lantern hitboxes actually. So
yeah, the sword is actually really massive. So coming over here, we have a really easy boss if you know how to do the one cycle. But even if you don't, it's still really easy. It just takes significantly longer. And he gets it very nice. And so does Entu. Very clean.
So for those that maybe don't know, what the runners just bought from the shop is the more obvious being the Shuriken upgrade, and less obvious at the moment being the knockback recovery, which is extremely handy to have. And again, one of those early upgrades that you want ASAP because it's really going to help you out of a lot of sticky situations if you get hit.
Yeah, it also enables you to do damage boosts.
And that's all we're going to see of Forlorn.
Yep. That's my best split.
The funniest thing about Forlorn split is the biggest variance you're going to run into is slight loading time difference. Just from run to run.
Ooh, nice. Dragon goes for the early crusher. Doesn't stop to wait for that to be safe.
Entu might. He's a little too close.
Yeah. You would have definitely died there.
Good old Rexton.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool enemy.
So one of 2 gauntlet rooms in the catacombs area that you simply just have to destroy all enemies before you can proceed.
They're usually pretty easy to get through, even the Wizrobe one, because you have the Shurikens at this point. So even though it is RNG, you don't lose a ton of time from it.
It's funny because I would almost argue that like the Wizrobes and a few other instances are a big consideration into early Shurikens, because a lot of the time that you pick up on that first boss, you lose in visiting the shop in and of itself. But you kind of pick up a little more along the way and having it for some utility uses, especially early on.
Yeah.
As was mentioned in one of Shay's earlier races, a lot of crushers in this level, an unusual amount of crushers. Entu taking the damage boost through the spikes in the water, which means he's not going to opt for the swing damage boost coming up.
Yeah, the crushers are instant death no matter what, so it's always scary no matter how much health you have. Here's the aforementioned Wizrobe room on Dragon's side. It gets bad RNG. And he misses the Shuriken.
Ooh, that's going to cost him a little bit of time. He read the pattern right. He had the exact right idea, and unfortunately that shot was just a little bit astray.
Oh, and the Wizrobe spawns under him. He has to wait or just take the damage. That always sucks when that happens.
Both runners at 1 health, a little bit scary at the moment.
Yeah, as long as they get to the checkpoint, they should be fine. Oh, this is my favorite room on Dragon's side.
The little left right.
Yeah.
Entu getting a little bit of a wall jump in that section. I don't think I've ever seen it done quite like that.
I think he messed up one of the cloud steps, so he had to wall jump.
See Dragon waiting for the Crusher. That's another deadly one. It looks like you can make that, but it's a lot closer than you would think.
Yeah, you need to have perfect movement before that to be able to skip it.
Alright, so what's Ruxton going to give Dragonstrike?
The ideal RNG is if he spawns on top, like he did just there, and then you basically have to damage boost up to him, and that gives you a lot of slashes at once. And they both got the same RNG, so that's really good. Entu didn't get as many hits as he could, so he has to spend a little more time on this boss.
I think the difference actually was that Dragonstrike on his first trip up top actually opted to pump all 3 shurikens into Ruxton in that first kind of wave of attack before he dropped down, because Entu finished off with the 3rd star. So he could have had actually the same fight had he chosen to done the same, but I understand why. The shurikens are great to have for long distance utility once Ruxton starts to move.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
So Bamboo coming up, a lot of precise jumps, a lot of things that you can do along the way to optimize. Very nice stage, and kind of puts you right to work before we get the rope dart for seeing all the little things that you can throw in before you have to utilize that final tool.
Mm-hmm. He also has a lot of good music.
Bamboo is so good.
Bamboo is the best type of grass. Fight me. Oh, Dragon went back to get hit.
He actually just picked a fight. He dropped down and just wasn't having it.
It's bad luck if he actually misses.
Oh, he's going under the saw blade. I glanced and I caught that kind of mid dropping down. Did he miss it?
Yeah, he went for it, but he missed it.
Okay.
It's kind of tricky. You need to basically be right on the edge of that platform.
If you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of time, you can cloud step off that first fireball from that enemy. It doesn't cost too much time, and it's much easier than just risking the jump itself, but the fastest method is definitely just taking the jump.
Yeah, yeah.
Elevator.
Oh, nice, he gets it.
That was a good room.
Yeah, that room is definitely the most executionally taxing in this game. At least in my opinion.
It's a good combination of things between the elevator skip and what is it? They called it the steel heart earlier. I think the double jump off that one lantern up and around. It's a nice room. It's come along very well.
Yeah, Dragon should have enough time shards so he doesn't have to go down.
Yeah, he's definitely good. Runners are looking for essentially 275 coming into the next shop so they can purchase the glide attack.
And the water dash?
I think it's called the water dash or something like that. I call it the water dash. I don't actually know what the name is.
The what, sorry?
I don't know what the water dash name is officially. I just call it the water dash myself.
Okay.
Maybe you can get a quick glance at Entu's screen before he blazes past it. So the feature of the day when it comes to Grotto is going to be the glide. That is the new item, the mandatory item that the shopkeeper gives us. As mentioned, they'll be purchasing a couple upgrades, but this is going to be a stage all focused around utilizing that glide. Vertical corridors everywhere, wind, you name it.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you could go over that green guy.
I don't think I've seen that either. That was nice. Very smooth usage of the glide attack.
Yeah, the glide attack is very fun. I wish you had it before.
Both runners really holding their own. I haven't seen anything that I would classify as a major mistake. Dragonstrike still maintaining that lead, but both of them playing very, very well.
Yeah, they basically been on the same pace since the beginning. I think being able to switch between the glide attack and the normal air slash is what makes pretty good the messenger player.
Every once in a while, you'll get caught with a glide attack that you don't intend to do, and it'll catch you by surprise. I think I mentioned earlier today, but one of the worst culprits is probably the second phase of the upcoming boss, because you're trying to get as many hits in as possible, and you're doing a combination of cloud stepping and attacking him, but you don't actually want to glide attack him because you'll actually propel yourself up above him, and it takes time and it's actually slow. So that's the one struggle about the glide attack, when it happens accidentally. But I agree with you fully and wholly. Being able to have good control over that attack is key.
Yeah, people have been asking for it to be on a different button, but I disagree. You just need to get good. This is a really fun boss, especially if you get the 2-cycle. You need to do specifically 7 hits, I believe, before running to the side and throwing a shuriken. That way you get the most time up top to do damage. It can be tricky though, because sometimes you can accidentally multi-hit without noticing.
Dragon going left side first, and he's actually opting for damage boost strats, which is technically the fastest, but as long as you do it cleanly, you leave yourself with more than enough health for the second phase.
Yeah, the second phase is basically free. There's pretty much no reason you should take damage there.
Dragon having a little bit of a hard time. That orb can get away from you.
Yeah. He gets it though.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Release the Bible thumps in chat for the orb feeling bad.
Very sad orb. That should be an emote.
Oh, there's going to be an orb thump. I can make it a thing.
I hope you do.
Quillshroom is really where you're going to see the people that excel with the glide attack strats. There's a lot of things that you can chain together just beautifully, and there's a couple things that you really just can't do without it. So someone mentioned earlier, I think it was like 5 seconds that you can save optimally in Quillshroom in having the glide attack over not having it. We're going to see if these runners can kind of put that to the test, and it looks just phenomenal when it all comes together.
Yeah, Quillshroom is definitely the gatekeeper level of this game. Not only does it cause a lot of deaths for a lot of runners, but if you die any time before it, it also causes a second cutscene to trigger, which wastes a lot of time as well. So optimizing it is a feat.
Dragonstrike with a very clean room again, putting it to work. Entu going lower route, it's not really too terrible. You just waste a fraction of a second jumping up there, but it's not a big deal in the least.
Dragon seems to be playing very devil may care about his health level.
He's at the magical number 3. Health refill coming up here in one of the lanterns.
Yeah, he gets it. Nice.
All right, we're gonna see if he can get this with the shurikens. Oh yeah, he's got great height, and he pulls it off.
I've never been able to do that before. I always miss one or both of the shurikens.
Honestly, as somebody that primarily plays out of bounds, that's probably one of the things I miss most because I don't get the glide attack early anymore, and I loved doing that shuriken strat.
And Dragon just opening to damage boost through the spike balls.
So this room is actually a little daunting because if you do it too fast, you're actually going to bound to be bumping into the spikes right there. So you need to be a little bit careful because if you go too fast, you just want to hold up for a second. That would have actually killed him.
Yeah, I've never had that problem before.
You don't do it more than once.
However, you know, I tend to make a lot of the same mistakes over and over until I get it into my head. So no death so far, assuming Dragon doesn't die on this boss, he should be able to skip that cutscene. Oh wow, I've never seen that before.
Neither have I. That was really cool. I've never opted or never seen anyone opt for glide attacks.
That was a especially clean boss fight. That could save him a lot of time over Entu if he doesn't manage to do the same thing.
This fight is a mandatory 3 cycle, no matter how much you damage her. There's no way that you can advance it earlier than 3 cycles and that final hit after she jumps down, unfortunately, because you can stack a lot of damage in, but it just doesn't work. So Dragonstrike is going to be picking up everyone's favorite upgrade, the Rope Dart, among a few other things.
It's a health upgrade, I believe, and random health drops, I think.
You are correct. So making quick and obvious use of it, the theme is essentially Rope Dart everything. Rope Dart enemies, Rope Dart edges. He's missed the platform jump.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a little fun. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just say that can really get you if you overthink it. I mean, at least that's the case with myself. If I go into that jump and I'm trying to think too much about where the alignment is, that's always the time that I miss it.
Yeah, I think it's a little faster to go off screen to respawn it, rather than waiting for it to go down and back up.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, nice.
You see Tear calling it the hook shot. I don't know this hook shot you speak of, Tear.
Unfortunately, you can't do the cool thing where you slash the blue guy's projectile to jump up to the top if you go from the bottom screen in the middle. I thought that was the coolest trick in this game.
If you really stretch it, you can actually make the right platform from the right-hand green guy. So if you slash him once on the way up and then you glide attack him, you can actually make the right platform because he's also moving right. You'll get a little extra distance.
Yeah, but that's not as cool.
One of my favorite parts about the Cloud Step is definitely a lot of the vertical ascension and how the runners choose to tackle these spots. And speaking of the runners, make sure to toss them a follow as well. They're doing an awesome job today. Both of them just on point.
Yeah, for sure. This is my favorite boss in the game. A lot of people hate it because of the RNG, but I still love it. It reminds me a lot of Agni and Rudra from Devil May Cry 3. I don't know if you played that game.
I did when it dropped briefly. briefly meaning I did it once, but I never went back to it other than my first casual experience.
Well, back in 2005?
Yeah.
Wow. That's one of those games you really have to play a lot on the hardest difficulties to really get the most out of it. Fortunately though, in this game, you don't fight both of the brothers at once. That'd be a bit much, maybe.
The key to this fight, of course, both of them have separate health bars or health totals, if you will, and you need to try and reduce both of them below a certain threshold, and they'll attempt to tag out, and that's when the fight's going to end. You can only attack the green one from the front and the orange one from the back. Rope Dart, in addition to being a good movement tool, actually provides iframes. If you see what Entu is doing now, able to basically just get through the rocks and things like that, and right through the enemy sprite.
Yeah, it has a ridiculous amount of involved frames. It doesn't look like it, but you can pass through basically anything in this game using it.
So Glacial is another one of those heavily vertically oriented levels. It has a lot of elements of technicality to it, so we're going to see how both of them kind of keep their pace.
Yeah, this and Searing Crags are very flow-based levels. You can keep up the same momentum if you have enough skill to do so. The next level, however, you do have to wait on certain segments.
Also, Glacial having a very good soundtrack as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Canada.
There's not a bad track in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Some are better than others, but there's not a bad track.
Shout outs to Canadian music.
Actually, shout outs to Sabotage in general. I mean, their first game, they did a wonderful job. It's kept me entertained among many, many others, and it makes for a great speedrun, just the way it's built from the ground up. Dragonstrike just making this look effortless.
Yeah, if he had a style ranking, it'd be SS right now.
S for Snake.
Smoking Snake style.
I mean, there's clearly an intended path here, but the runners don't follow that. I mean, between basically turning a double lantern jump into a combination of a normal lantern jump and a glide attack, you can even kind of get yourself a little more height off of them.
Yeah, you can skip a lot of sections where you would think you need to wait by just utilizing lanterns really cleverly. And this level is one of those levels that doesn't have a boss, unfortunately.
We can make up for it with next level's boss, though. That's like 3 enemies in one.
We should cut out the whole next level and just put it at the end of this level.
I think the coolest compliment I've heard about this game from somebody in a casual perspective is they felt a lot of the movement was really intuitive. And I think that complements the game well, because it's one thing to be able to do cool speed tech and figure out things like that. And it's another thing for people to say, okay, this feels like it's really natural.
Yeah, there are some finicky things, like sometimes you don't want to attach to the wall, but the messenger wants to.
Looks like Terra's reporting that Dragonstrike is on PB pace. That is absolutely excellent. Let's wish him luck. I mean, obviously, luck to both runners, but you know, getting a PB in a race is always a good thing.
Let's just say he got world record at the end of this, even if he didn't.
Oh, the clip.
He did wait though, so that does count. He had to waste time because he clipped.
Yeah, if he had have gone ahead, that's when it would have been an issue. But he opted to double back and take that part again, so he's fine. It's funny because I've thought about that before, and I don't think I've ever actually seen that happen to somebody in either a PB attempt or a race. But I've thought about that happening before.
Yeah, I knew that would happen in one of these races, so I had to bug Count Creep to make a rule about that. He messes up his movement a bit, so he has to double back.
Also, something worth mentioning about the lasers, they actually hurt more than spikes. So the only thing that I know of in the game that do 4 damage instead of 3. And Dragonstrike actually, he whiffed a shuriken in one of the enemies there. And not even really whiffed, the enemy got in the way when he was trying to shoot the switch there.
Oh wow, he doesn't get the updraft for some reason. He has to wait for the spike platform to come back up. And it gives Entu plenty of time to catch up.
It is a pretty painful time loss. This room in and of itself is just inevitably slow. You can minimize that by taking the damage boost, which we see here. It is a little bit dangerous though. Sometimes your jumps may fall in the pockets where those lasers are.
Oh, he didn't go for the checkpoint either, so he has to go all the way back. And the cutscene.
Horrible text.
Yikes. Oh, he has to wait again because of the Corbel text.
Oh no.
That was a very bad death.
Oh wow.
Entu's pretty much co-opted him. And there's oh, I messed up again. He's tilted now. He just needs to take a minute to relax.
Okay, so for the first time in a while, we see a lead change. Entu, he's waiting. He didn't get burned by the same thing. It's a tough cycle to make. That laser is deceptive because they do come on at different times, and that first one will catch you before the one closer to you.
He opts to go for the checkpoint this time. I agree.
This might come down to Arcane Golem. So, clever use of Shuriken in this room. Hit the switch all the way on the other side because you don't want to walk that distance.
Yeah. You still want to run though because the light that you turn into still has travel distance, so you want to save a bit of that.
Correct, yeah. Entu still needs to be careful. He's at 2 health. An enemy's not going to kill him right now, but you don't want to touch one of those lasers.
So the wizards don't give him trouble.
Yeah, coming into the Wizrobe health, or sorry, the Wizrobe room with 1 health is scary.
They can spawn directly in your way, and it makes it a big problem.
Now, I guess what would be equivalent to Link to the Past coffee break? We just drop and slash and wait, and drop and slash and wait.
Can't exactly leave your game though.
Yeah, I know, that's true. We'll call it the resident sleeper of the Tower of Time. Oh no!
And okay, saved himself.
And yeah, that was scary.
This room is basically an auto-scroller. It's the closest thing to that we have in this game.
And you can cut those jumps short to save yourself a tiny amount of time, but the second you miss one of those platforms and you actually miss it, you're done.
Yeah. Dragon opts not to slash either of the lanterns. You don't really need shurikens on this boss, so it's probably better. And he is at full health. It saves a tiny bit of time.
It's going to be extremely close. Can depend on what kind of clap patterns both of them get. You're going to see them try and basically stand or float, sorry, on the left side or right side of the boss while Cloud stepping and slashing outside the circle.
Yeah, Entu has to basically mess up now to lose.
Wow.
And he gets it. His timer didn't stop though, so we don't know what he got. Oh, he stopped it manually. Okay.
I saw 34-44 before it went away, although it might have been a little bit late.
I think he got a 34-41, but I'm not sure. and Dragon right behind him with a 34.57. Very unfortunate mess up there, but still a really good run.
That would actually be a PB for Entu, so big congratulations there.
Yeah, nice PB for Entu. I think Dragon feels got it. I could see it in his messenger space.
He's not taking on the hat, so you know he's not happy. No, great run by both. You know what? That can honestly happen to anyone, and it can happen so easily. So I mean, sub 35 is, you know, it's not a bad run by any means. It's just had an unfortunate end.
Yeah. Oh, apparently his timer started early.
34-34. Congratulations, Entu.
Yeah, congrats.
Did you guys want to jump in for a interview? Let's see. There we go.
Okay, Entu has opted not to join us for an interview.
That is perfectly fine. You got to do what you got to do, and unfortunately, he has to go. But really, really great race by both runners. Very close.
Yeah, we saw some cool things we've never seen before. Very entertaining to watch.
And it was close up until the very end too. I mean, they were both heading into Arcane Golem within a very short amount of time, and a fall to the Arcane Golem and having to deal with one attack, especially depending on what attack the runner could have gotten, could have actually swung that the other way as well. So we've seen a lot of PBs this tournament, which is nice. A lot of the runners are getting in a lot of practice time, and obviously the racing is helping with consistency. So that's amazing to see as well. You know, for those that might be interested in the game, make sure to join the Discord and check it out. This should be the last race for today, but there's many more upcoming, so make sure to check out the schedule as well. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, make sure to follow your runners. They're here providing great entertainment for everyone, free of charge, and that was a quality race, and look forward to more of that in the tournament.
Yeah. It's still a very young game as well in terms of the run. So if you want to join in, it's a really good time. Shout outs to Shopkeeper Percent. I will not let that go.
So there's definitely still room for growth, which is nice. But yeah, I definitely thank you for co-commentating with me as well. It's always nice to have somebody else join in, and I really appreciate that. And thanks to the restreamer behind the scenes.
Yeah, thanks for joining me as well. It was fun.
Alrighty. Well, you guys have yourself a great night. Like I said, make sure to check out the schedule, and we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, see ya.